Okay, so today we're gonna do a video on how to replace a screen on a 13-inch Retina. This is not gonna be replacing the whole top cover like most of the people do. Replacing this screen is insanely difficult, and I highly discourage everybody who wants to do this and is not skilled with repairs like this. As you can see, the computer is, the battery is low, but the screen is cracked here and there's lines all over. So basically we need to take this out and replace it with another one. I'm not going to replace the whole screen assembly. The video is going to be pretty lengthy. You're looking at about an hour on how to do this. It can be done in a little bit faster, but the thing is, again, for me to show you step by step on how to do this, it's not gonna be that fast. So let's take off the bottom first. This is not like MacBook here that you can actually do it while the screen assembly is on. It's very hard. The screen assembly needs to be taken out. I'm not sure if there is any other video of how to do this still on YouTube. I believe not. I haven't seen one. I have seen videos of people replacing the screen assemblies and people taking a couple of snapshots of open assemblies saying that they replaced these and then asking you if you want to fix it to send it to them, which is ridiculous. That's not a video of why are you putting something on YouTube to advertise yourself? Go advertise yourself somewhere else. Make a website or something. Okay, so we're gonna take the assembly off. This is a late 2013 13-inch model. Pretty much we gotta unscrew the hinges. 3 screws on each side. Don't lose these, you'll need them later. Both sides, if you see my video on replacing the screen assembly, both sides have these little brackets that hold the hinge down as well. They're like safety measure. I don't really know why they put this in there, but okay, not like these hinges are falling out. So what I usually like to do is I like to unplug the battery before I unplug the screen. Sometimes if you unplug it sideways or it's not straight, when you plug it back in you can actually damage something on the board. Some people will end up with no backlight because they blew the fuse or a controller that is called the LED driver that lights up the fuse on different models. So basically that's how I take the screen assembly out. We're gonna set this on the side. We don't need it for now. This is the only thing we need at the moment. Okay, so we'll need also some air. This is pretty much how it's going to be done. You need to take this off. It's a clutch cover that slides out. You're going to have to unscrew both hinges, and you're going to take this rubber trim out. Then you're going to start taking this off. Now the first part is taking this bracket off. You slide it down to the right, towards the right. You just pick it up. It's pretty easy. That's how it goes off. Here we have a little piece of tape that covers the LVDS cable. Take that tape off. And start unscrewing all these screws that are holding the Wi-Fi antenna down. Try to set these screws somewhere so you know what they are and where they're supposed to go, because you're going to have to put them back in there. Very important part is going to be when you actually close it up, because all this needs to be held back together the way how it was before. If something is not budging while you're taking out this antenna, be careful, don't pull. You don't want to rip these wires because then you're going to have to replace them. If you don't have them, you'll have to order them. If you're replacing it for somebody and you already had the old assembly, you can use those. These wires are the same for the 13-inch, for all the 1502 models, and different for the 1425 model. There's two screws holding the hinge. I'm going to take these off. I'm going to take the antenna off. It's a little bit tight because it has these little metal pieces that go inside and hold it down. You can leave it like this hanging. That's pretty much it. We're going to take off the screen cable, LVDS cable. The LVDS cable has the same latch like the Macbook Air. You picked up the latch, pull it out, you're done. There is a small connector right here. Right here, it's a small cable. Pick this up. It's a backlight. You don't want to damage that as well. You read that, you're going to have a lot of fun replacing the backlight. In that case, you probably end up replacing the whole screen assembly. There are two screws holding this polarizer on the side. Sorry for that noise. This was the compressor. I need to get some air because we'll need to clean this afterwards. Try to have magnets for these so you don't lose the screws don't fly all over the place. Okay, now I need to pick this up. This is the inverter board for the new screen. It's glued, so that's why it's a little hard. There we go. It is, let's go. Okay, after you're done with this, we're gonna take off the rubber trim. Rubber trim needs to come out first before you actually take the screen out. And believe it or not, it goes around the screen. It's tricky putting it back in. I'll show you that later. It's easy to pull it out though. Here we go, don't throw this out, you're gonna need this later. Now we need to unscrew all these screws holding the bottom piece, the bottom bracket for the screen. Like on a MacBook Air, you'll have a big metal, long metal bracket holding the screen down. There is a bunch of screws. You gotta take all of them out. There are two screws below this inverter board. These also need to come out. You'll also need to put them back in when you put the screen. All this perfectly holds the whole thing tight in there so it doesn't move anymore. Okay, now the next thing is to remove the screen. Removing the screen is going to be a little bit tricky. This is the area where the screen is glued. So around all these three sides, like on the MacBook Air, pretty much the same thing. Now you can't use too much heat. If you overheat the sides of it, this glass is gonna crack. If you use a rework station, you're ending up you're gonna end up with cracks wherever you try to heat this up. I'm not gonna show you that because that makes the repair much more difficult. What I do, I use the heat gun and I use it on low heat, and I do it side by side. The perfect way of doing this is trying to lift the whole thing without actually breaking it, because if you start breaking, it's going to shatter into very small pieces and it's going to make your life miserable. It's going to be very hard to take them out, because like in Macbook Air, there is reflective sheets in here as well. There's diffusers inside that you have in the Macbook Air as well. Should be enough. Okay, now slide under here. Make sure all the screws are out. If the screws are not out, you're gonna have a problem. Try to keep the prior all the way to the side. As soon as it starts going harder, stop there and give it a little bit more heat. Like I said, try to do this as much as you can until it cracks, if possible in one piece, but it's very hard to do this. Take it out in one piece. The tape is pretty strong and the screen is very fragile. And even the tool that I have is not long enough, so I'm gonna have to improvise somehow. Try to be gentle here, you don't want this to crack. See, it's coming off nicely. You gotta do the same thing on the top. Keep in mind that in the middle here we have the camera, so don't dig around it, you don't want to break it. You can hear the cracking. This is the side where the screen actually cracked, so this is impossible to remove without any cracks. This side is gonna have to be done. I even very rarely take this off in one piece because it's very hard to do, and even the slightest pressure by lifting cracks it. Lift this up now. That's it, that's the old one. Don't throw it out, you're gonna need this metal piece. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to clean the glass on the side. Remember, no heating now. At this point, you cannot heat anything. Don't touch this. If you touch this, your repair is as good as failed. Okay, now we're gonna clean it up. Make sure you don't have any glass left over, because they can create problems later on. Okay, so the next step is to take this metal bracket off. You're gonna need it. Like I said, don't throw this out. Let's heat up, but heat up from the upper side. Okay, so we need to clean this also. This is not fun. You're gonna have to scrape this off. not as fun as cleaning up the Macbook here, right? Okay, so now we're gonna put the tape on this. Put this back on the case of the screen. Don't try to put this on the screen and then put the screen in here, that's not going to work out. Okay, let's clean this off also a little bit. Make sure there is no glass on the sides before you put the tape, and then let's set the tape here. You actually don't need too much because of the way how the screen is being held inside. Okay, this is not good. When you put the tape on, do not cover the little canal that the rubber trim is going to go into. You need that canal to put the rubber trim back in, so don't cover that up. On the top, I usually put it here in the middle where the camera is. And a little bit on the sides, because you do not need that much tape to hold all the stuff in. As you will see, the rubber is going to do most of the part of holding the whole screen in there. Okay, you pretty much, when you get to this point, you pretty much prepare the screen to be placed in there, but this is where it gets hard. Set this on the side, let's grab the screen. Okay, so this is the screen. It's exactly the same. All of them will come with this protective sheet in the back. Here's the tricky part. The tricky part is that you have to put the rubber trim around it before you actually end up putting the screen back in there, because the rubber trim has a little strip inside where the screen sits in. So without you actually putting the rubber trim first, without you putting the rubber trim all together with the screen, you won't be able to close it up. If you try to put the screen in there, it's not going to go where it's supposed to. You will not be able to put the rubber around it. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna put these little pieces of tape on the edges of the screen, because this rubber trim doesn't have any tape on it, any glue on it, and you're trying to put this without anything holding it there is going to be impossible. Believe me, I tried. So I'm saving you time. What I do is I put 3 pieces of tape on the sides. This is where the rubber is going to go. And I put 2 of them on the top. You don't need it on the bottom because you'll see how it's going to go on the bottom. On the bottom is not the same. Take this off. This is a double-sided tape. Of course you can use anything else. Okay, now we need to put this tape on. The bottom of the tape is going to go in the front of this thing. Will be good. Actually, start from the top. Put the screen inside the tape, you will see where it goes. You can't miss it, literally. Be very careful, these screens are very fragile. One wrong movement and you'll break it. Before you put this back in, you need to check it. You need to make sure that it actually is where it's supposed to be. If it's not, then you need to adjust this rubber trim to be perfectly aligned with how it was before. If it's not, then you gotta do it again. In my case, it's not. You need to move it a little bit. gonna put two small pieces of tape here to hold this together. On this side also, so the bottom doesn't move. Okay, now it comes maybe the trickiest part of putting this thing back in. Okay, here's where you hit the point of no return, pretty much. That's how I would call it. After you put this in, forget about taking it out. There is no taking it out. You're gonna try to take it out to clean something, or you notice that you didn't clean the white sheet properly, you wanna blow out the dust a little bit more. Forget about it. You're gonna break the polarizer, definitely. It didn't happen to me, but I know it will. That's how fragile they are. So I dare not even take this thing out after this point. At this point, this is going to go in and it's going to stay in. And however you close it, if you have any specks of dust or anything, you're going to have to live with it. And trust me, it's not easy to keep it clean. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to remove this. This has a protective sheet on it as well. Inspect it one last time. I go from the top. Actually, might be better from the bottom. But the whole thing needs to get in there evenly. If it doesn't, then you have a problem. Make sure you push this rubber in there properly. At this point, like I said, there is no opening this up. Now we're going to put the hinges and the cable back on there, and we're going to test it. So we can put this cable back on, this backlight. I'm going to screw this cable back on there. There's the hinge, the LEDs cable. Make sure you keep screw it in straight, because if you put it sideways even a little bit, it will make the whole assembly a little uneven when you put it back on there. Plug the cable back in. Now it's time to screw this. I made a mistake actually. I didn't slide in the antenna properly, so that's why this little cover won't go in. There are these little metal pieces that go and snap in inside of the case. Okay, that's much better. Make sure that the rubber is even outside, because that's how it's supposed to look. So you can slide it out a little bit. And I'll finally plug it in and try it. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Batteries in. Okay. That's pretty much it. Let me just adjust it. Now after you're done, check the brightness levels, check the camera, make sure the camera works. restart it, see how it looks on the white surface. See if you have any spots, anything that is under. This one is pretty clean. Nothing that you can actually see. That's pretty much the way how you want it done. Okay, hope this helped you learn something. So if you have any questions, just post it. I'll do my best to answer whenever I can.